Some of the deadliest disasters in history were not caused by nature, but by the hands of humans. On the night of December 2, 1984, a massive cloud of toxic gas engulfed the city of Bhopal, India. Hundreds of thousands of people woke up choking in pain and terror. In 1995, sarin nerve gas was released on the Tokyo subway. In 2008, infant formula was deliberately contaminated with industrial chemicals just to increase profit. Hundreds of thousands of innocent victims died or suffered lifelong consequences. Today, we will look back at some of the worst mass poisonings in history. From industrial disasters and terrorist attacks to food fraud, we will examine the key events, the evidence, survivor testimonies, and the long-term consequences. Stay until the end to understand the painful lessons these tragedies left behind. Let's begin. The 1984 Bhopal disaster. On the night of December 2 to 3, 1984, in the city of Bhopal, India, a massive leak of methyl isocyanate gas occurred at the Union Carbide pesticide plant. The gas cloud spread rapidly through the densely populated slums surrounding the factory. People woke up choking, with burning eyes and lungs. Many died in their sleep or while trying to flee. The official death toll stands at 3,787 people in the immediate aftermath. But independent estimates and activist groups put the total number of deaths at over 16,000 in the years that followed due to long-term health complications. More than 500,000 people were exposed to the toxic gas. Survivors described seeing a thick white cloud that smelled like burning chili peppers. Many lost their sight temporarily or permanently. The plant had been warned about safety issues multiple times, but cost-cutting measures had led to inadequate maintenance and disabled safety systems. The Indian government later sued Union Carbide, resulting in a settlement of $470 million in 1989. Decades later, many victims still suffer from respiratory problems, cancers, and birth defects. The Bhopal disaster remains the world's worst industrial chemical accident. The 1995 Tokyo Sarin attack. On March 20, 1995, during the morning rush hour, members of the Japanese doomsday cult, Shinrikyo, released sarin nerve gas on 5 Tokyo subway lines. The attackers punctured plastic bags containing liquid sarin with sharpened umbrella tips, allowing the deadly gas to vaporize. 13 people died and more than 5,000 were injured, many with permanent damage to their nervous systems, eyes, and lungs. Commuters collapsed on platforms and inside trains, foaming at the mouth and struggling to breathe. One survivor, a young office worker, described seeing people falling like dominoes and feeling his own vision blur. The cult, led by Shoko Asahara, had previously tested sarin in Matsumoto in 1994, killing 8 people. The Tokyo attack was intended to create chaos and delay a police raid on their headquarters. Asahara and several senior members were later convicted and executed. The attack remains the deadliest terrorist incident in modern Japanese history and led to stricter regulations on chemical substances and religious groups in Japan. The 2008 Chinese milk scandal. In 2008, it was discovered that several Chinese dairy companies had deliberately added the industrial chemical melamine to milk powder and infant formula to falsely increase the apparent protein content. The contamination affected an estimated 300,000 babies and young children. At least 6 infants died from kidney failure, and tens of thousands were hospitalized with kidney stones and other complications. Parents reported their babies crying in pain and passing blood in their urine. One of the worst affected companies was Sam Lu, which had received complaints as early as December 2007 but continued selling the tainted product. The scandal exposed widespread corruption and lack of food safety oversight in China's dairy industry. Dozens of people were arrested and 2 executives were executed. The Chinese government recalled thousands of tons of milk products and introduced new food safety laws. The scandal severely damaged consumer trust in Chinese dairy products both domestically and internationally, with long-term effects on the industry lasting for years. The 1854 Broad Street cholera outbreak. In the summer of 1854, a deadly cholera outbreak struck the Soho district of London. Within weeks, more than 600 people died in a small area around Broad Street. Residents suffered severe diarrhea, vomiting, and rapid dehydration. Dr. John Snow investigated the outbreak and mapped the cases, noticing that most victims had drawn water from a single public pump on Broad Street. Snow convinced authorities to remove the pump handle, after which new cases dropped sharply. It was later confirmed that the well had been contaminated by sewage from a leaking cesspool. This event is considered a landmark in public health because it helped establish the germ theory of disease and the importance of clean water. The Broad Street outbreak killed hundreds in a matter of weeks and demonstrated how a single point of contamination could cause mass poisoning on a local scale. The 1987 paraquat poisoning in Taiwan. In 1987, A fraudulent cooking oil company in Taiwan mixed the highly toxic herbicide paraquat into cheaper oils and sold them as edible oil. Hundreds of people consumed the contaminated oil over several months. Victims suffered severe lung damage, organ failure, and painful deaths. The death toll reached at least 100 confirmed fatalities, with many more suffering long-term health issues. The scandal led to major reforms in food safety regulations in Taiwan and increased public awareness about adulterated food products. These 5 mass poisonings represent some of the deadliest incidents caused by human negligence, deliberate criminal acts, or industrial accidents. The Bhopal gas leak killed thousands immediately and affected hundreds of thousands long-term. The Tokyo Sarin attack showed how a small group with access to chemical weapons could terrorize a major city. The Chinese milk scandal harmed hundreds of thousands of children for profit. The Broad Street cholera outbreak highlighted the dangers of contaminated water before modern sanitation. The Taiwan paraquat case demonstrated the risks of food adulteration for economic gain. In each case, the poisonings were enabled by greed, negligence, ideological extremism, or lack of oversight. The death tolls and long-term suffering continue to serve as warnings about the importance of safety regulations, corporate responsibility, and rapid response to public health threats. From an overall perspective, these events show how quickly large numbers of people can be poisoned when toxic substances enter the food chain, water supply, or air. Many of the tragedies could have been prevented with better safety protocols and honest reporting. The survivors and families of victims often face decades of health problems, legal battles, and emotional trauma. These cases led to significant changes in laws, industry practices, and public awareness in their respective countries and beyond. Looking back, the worst mass poisonings in history remind us of the devastating consequences when profit, ideology, or carelessness overrides human safety. They underscore the need for strong regulations, transparent oversight, and vigilance to protect public health from both accidental and intentional poisoning. If you'd like to see more stories like this, make sure to subscribe and feel free to drop suggestions for the next video in the comments.